Hello, my lovely magpie womble friends out there in the big wide world. It's Kooky from the Kooky Corner here on YouTube, and I have got a little treat for you today. Well, I say treat, I'm hoping it's going to be a treat. I hope you're going to enjoy it. It's a project. It's something that you can do for any particular point in time, but I reckon it would be really nice for a holiday season decoration, or you could have it as a storage area, or you could make it as a little house. Let me show you what I'm talking about. And here they are, my little kooky houses. I'm trying to imagine what kind of creature would live inside these if they were to have it as a house, and may still have a creature that will go inside it at some point. But what do you think? Little houses with some beautiful, well, slow stitching around the edge, decorated however you want it to be decorated. They're two different ones, so you can make them the same, or you could try different fabrics to see what kind of different houses you can get. And these are great because you've got a little pull-out area that you can store things in. So you can either have it as a little house, you could put one of those little electric candles inside and have it standing so it shines out. You could make it very festive. You could do it in Christmas colours if you wanted to. I quite like the bright, because even my Christmases are bright. I celebrate Yule, and so everything about my Yule tree is bright, bold, colourful, mismatched. That's my kind of style, but you could go for whatever kind of style you wanted to. Let me show you what I used for this. It's something really simple and something that you can maybe possibly get hold of easier in the UK. I'm not sure where you get one from in the US, but I will show you where I got mine from. You could do this with different kinds of things as well. It didn't have to be the house, but I'll just show you what I used and then you can make a decision. So this is a little house. You can get these from a place called The Works in the UK. Maybe you can get them from other places. That's the place that I found these. And it's called Make and Create Wooden House. So it may be available in different places, but that's where I got it. And I think they are really well made for the money. They cost £2 each, which I don't think is bad at all for a nice little ornament that you want to make and maybe give away as a present, or you could make some for yourself. I want to make a whole village. I've got an idea for a whole village. So it's very sturdy, nice and lightweight. It's not too heavy. It's not like a really heavy wood, but it is very decoratable, which is what I have done here on both of these. So both of those were done. That probably took me a couple of days, I would say. You could take as long as you like. I was making these fairly quickly so that I could show you a couple of options. But you can take them slowly. You can go as fast as you want. You know, it's a slow stitching project, but with an end product at the end of it. So what I did with the houses underneath, I have painted them. So I've painted the door. In fact, I painted all over it just in case I've got little edge bits like that showing. So they've been painted up, and you can use craft paint. I used Deco Art Americana, I think, for this one. For this one, I used, if I can find it somewhere, I used a PBO paint. It wasn't this one, but it was like the Studio Acrylic. Or the other one that I used, here it is the Amsterdam acrylic. But any base acrylics are going to work well for this. And just a couple of coats I did on each house. I didn't really need to do the underneath of this, but as I said, I did because I wanted any edges, you know, just to be painted and showing. The inside, you can paint that up if you want to. You don't have to. You could just paint the front of it. I did it just because I had the paint out and I had some time. So really, you can just do that as and how and when you want it to look. I'm just going to show you the stitch sides. So these are done in a similar way to most of the other things that I've shown you. It's a base piece with stitched on scraps, old scraps of fabrics that you might have, stitched into as much or as little as you want to. I have added some applique flowers onto these, some beads and some buttons. Basically, you can do it however you want it to look. And I just think it's such a cool thing. They're quite tactile as well. I just keep holding them and looking at them and imagining what kind of creature, who lives in a house like this? So yeah, that's the first thing you need, a little house. Or some other kind of object. You can decorate whatever you like, but I think these are really cool. And if you can get hold of one of the little houses to decorate, you know, you're going to enjoy it. So what else are you going to need? Well, apart from the little house, what I did as my base, and this is just my thing that I've got. You can use whatever you like. All you need is a piece of fabric, the dimensions of this to wrap around it. So this is what I used. It's Eleganza Natural Linen. It's a premium quality frayed edge burlap ribbon, and I've used that as my base for my slow stitching. It's nice, strong. It has got frayed edges. If you don't like that, you could probably find something else, but I quite like that. It doesn't bother me that, you know, that's what it's meant to be. It's supposed to be a frayed edge burlap. You could also, if I can find it, get something like this. I don't think this is quite as wide, but if you paint the underneath of your house, then it's not such a big deal. It's just like a Hessian ribbon. This one's got wired edges, but again, those are removable. You can just pull it out once you chop it off and then just use it as a ribbon. And that would also look nice around a painted house as well. I might even try one of those at some point myself. I love the smell of this. Just smelling the Hessian, it just takes me back. Love the smell of Hessian. Or burlap. I don't know what you call it. I call it Hessian, but lots of people call it burlap. So you'll need a base. I have put one here ready. So I've given myself a little bit more than I actually need to go around it, because what I'm going to do is fold under so that these bits are not going to fray when they're kind of stood on places and moved around a bit. So give yourself a little bit more, probably about a centimetre more on either side, centimetre and a half on either side, just so you've got a bit to work with. Also, when you stitch into it, it will pull it in a little bit. If you know the slow stitching stitch, if you're doing a running stitch, you will find that it will gather it in slightly more. So you need to give yourself a little bit of working room. It's a bit like a snippet roll. If you have any of those fabric snippet rolls, those would work perfectly for this kind of thing as well. So what you would do then, you would get out your scraps of fabric and you'd lay them on the top. So I'm just going to grab some now. I have got another one that I'm going to show you because it's a bit like a Blue Peter. This here's one I made earlier kind of thing. But I just wanted to get this out to you so that you could go and source yourself a little decorative house if you can find one somewhere. So I'll just get my scraps of fabric out. I'll be back. Okay, so I have pulled out, let me move these paints out of the way before I knock them on the floor. I've pulled out a whole selection of scraps from my scrap bag. Didn't really think about it much, matching things, because I like things, as you can see, bright and colourful. You could obviously be much more discerning in which scraps you like and what you want to do with them. And, you know, as I always say, you do you. You do what you like. I'm just giving you the idea. So I've got these pieces here. This is quite cute. It's got little kitties on it. And I'm going to try and incorporate, because if you think about your piece, the pieces that go down the sides, and you're going to want it to be, well, I wanted it to be kind of vertical. so that those pieces would then fall like that, if you see what I mean, down the side of the house. So let's try that one now. I'm going to go right up to the edges on these ones as well. I quite like this flowery fabric. I am going to try all different kinds of style of colorways with these, because I actually want to see all the different colors and what you can do with them. I'm so in love with it. Let's go with a plain next. This pink is nice and bright. You can see it's been in my scrap bag because we've got bits of thread everywhere. Just eyeball how wide I want it to be. There is no right or wrong with this at all, not in the slightest. You lay it where you enjoy it looking. You like the look of it, that's where it goes. If it fits, it sits. It's a bit like a cat, isn't it? But basically, that is probably about there. So don't worry too much about getting these exactly to fit, because you can trim them at the end. You can trim the edges to back down to the ribbon size. What else have I got here? Really like this. It's like the edge of a piece of fabric, and I'm going to take it to there and also taking off a bit of the selvage. You don't have to, but for my purposes I'm taking it off. I think that's going to sit quite nicely there. You can repeat some of these as well if you've got a fabric that you've used and you want to use it again on the other side. Why not? Just enjoy what you're doing with it. This is a rather fun one. I'm going to stick that in there. That can come down there like that. Try pieces on, audition them in your piece, see how they fit. If you don't like them, just move them out. It's not like a jigsaw where everything has a place. This can be wherever you want it to be. Keep looking through, finding little bits. I like this bright. It's like a cherry red, like that. That's quite nice. Ooh, mashing the camera. Let's take a piece of that. See where I want it. That look okay under there? I would say so. That looks fine to me. Now, one thing that I've forgotten, just should have remembered. Well, actually, no, I will cover it all because you will have a bit to turn under at the bottom. Just remember not to decorate it. Actually, now I'm going to move it. Oh dear. I'm going to give myself that little gap there. Kind of like that. I've forgotten how it went now. Doesn't really matter. Once you've got it in the place you want it to be, top tip, take a picture of it. Top tip to take a picture. I didn't have that one underneath. Kind of like that. Something like this. I'm just giving you a general idea anyway. It's not hard and fast how it needs to go. Stick that one underneath there, like so. I can hear things moving behind me. I think something's just fallen down. Am I worried? No, not really. Part of the course in this studio, there's always something on the loose. I really like that. Don't know if you'd fit down there in the bottom. Maybe. Let's try it. Let's get rid of some of those ends. snip it off. And then, oh, wrong bit. This is the bit I wanted. Down there. So I'm kind of liking that. You can have other bits added in as well. So say if you wanted a little bit of this in there, you could add a little square of that on there as well. Why not? Let's do it. Remembering which way your houses go. If you want your hearts to be the right way up, and remember to turn them, because that will go down one side of the house. If you remember, that's going to go down that side, so that's in the right place. Those are just small things. It doesn't really matter in the end of it all. So now you'd have a layout, something like that, with a little bit of an edge on there. What I have done with mine is I have got out my threads and I have done a running stitch up and down. If you want to, you could stick your pieces down. I am going to use my trusty pins because, well, my clips, not my pins. You know, I don't like pins. So you could just, you can either clip it wherever you can. Obviously it's not going to be possible to stretch in maybe to reach that one. Don't know. No, it's not going to reach that one, but yeah, you get the idea. If you are nervous at all about this, you could just tack it before you actually put the main stitches in. And if you tack it in a thread, that doesn't matter. You can just hide it underneath all the other stitches. You know, it really is how you like to work. And I am averse to pins. I do not like pins. They do not like me. It's a mutual thing. But I might have to use one for that little square there. So I'll just grab myself a little headed pin here and put it there. Also might need one just there, reaching across. Just there. And I can actually put a pin for that one there. If you find these get in your way, you know, you do you. I will clip. You can do whatever you like with yours. Pin them, glue them with some fabric, temporary fabric glue, however that works. So now we have to pick out a thread that's going to unify our piece. It's brightly coloured, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to grab a box of threads and I am going to decide what I want to use as a thread colour. Choices. I quite like, I'm looking at that there, and I quite like that. So I'm going to pick out that and use that one. It's a simple enough choice in the end. Now, somewhere buried among this detritus is my thread, my needle book with my needles in. You want the one with a fairly big head on it, just because you've got to get this pearl cotton through it. This one is an anchor one, I think. Yeah, this is an anchor one. We can get DMC, whatever you have. You know, there is no rule. So you can use whatever thread you have on hand. Here's me actually threading a needle. Wow, it worked. Got a knot in it there though. Happens to the best of us. It's not going to come out, is it? Oh well, I'll just use that as my knot. I'm just going to trim off there. Always taking the easy way out. So I am going to, as per usual, run a running stitch all the way across my piece. You could do it that way if you wanted to. I just kind of find this easier to go straight across all the bits. As I come to a clip, I'll just take it off. There is no rule about stitches being even in Kooky land, so you can just do whatever you like. Go for it. If you're happy with it, that doesn't matter. And in the end, this is just kind of tie everything together. It's going to look brilliant when you finished it with all the stitches and colours and everything on it. So I say don't worry, be happy. So you can see where I'm going with this. It's just a case of pulling it all together with a nice relaxing running stitch. It can be a lot neater than I am being. I say slow stitching, you can go as slow as you like. I'm going a little quicker just for the fact that I'm recording it, and I know that I don't want to be holding you up for longer than necessary because I know you want to get to crafting. Managed to wrap that around there, stick it back in. There we go. So that's the first row. All you have to do then is run it upwards and downwards, backwards and forwards, la-di-da-di-da, until you have completely covered, not covered, but kind of gone up and down all the way on your piece till you get to the bottom. Refresh your thread when you need to. If you want to, you can even change colour part way through. There are no thread police here. You can do whatever you like with it. So I'm going to leave you to carry on with that, or to gather your supplies and get going. Then come back to me when you're ready for the next part. So here's one I made earlier. And I'll show you what I did. So you can see that I've completed the running stitch up and down. That was the first task. The next thing I did was to add in a few decorative details. So I've got some little French knots there. I've gone around each of the pieces with a back, like a stab stitch, an oversew stitch, however you want to call it. On this one I had a little circular piece, so I went around that as well. And that's basically it for the moment. I will be adding more things in. At the bottom end of here, because I know that's going to be the bottom end of the side of the house, a la that one, I've done a little stalk and I'm going to add a flower in there. So those are all things that you can think about where you want things to be placed on your house. I have turned under the ends and I have blanket stitched along each edge so that it's nice and secure. Didn't do it on that one, so you don't have to do it. Didn't do it on that one, so I've just decided on this one that I just wanted to blanket stitch it, so I did. So the next thing you need to do, if you want to add any applique in, if you want to add some buttons in, if you want to add a trim on it, like I did on this one here, and like I did on this one here, then now is the time to get those in place. So I've got some felt circles here that I've cut out. I do want one to be the flower on that side. I don't want it to be too big. That's too big. It's going to blend in because it's pink. That blue's too close to that blue. Decisions. Let's go with that purple one. I quite like that. That's nice. And you can layer it up if you want to. So I'm going to do that too. So I've got some tinier little felt circles, which I sat in front of the TV and cut out the other night. So that will sit on there beautifully. I will show you how I do these. Really simple. So grab myself, I'm going to go with this blue. do like this blue. It's nice and dark and it'll add a contrasting colour. I need my needle. Let's see if I can thread it up again on camera without it balling up. Yes, I'm on a roll today. So you can pin these, stick these, do whatever you like with them, but I'm going to bring you down so that you can see. So come a little closer. Actually, what I'll do, instead of doing that, I'll do that. That's easier, isn't it? So, holding it down, I'm going to come up through both pieces from the back. I'm going to go back down at the side of it, but I'm going to come out along it there, like that. I'm going to wrap my thread around, and that's one petal. Don't pull it too tightly. Move a little way along, coming up through both of the felts, going back down in, coming out, and around the perimeter, wrapping it around and pulling it, and then securing that petal with a little tiny stitch. And this is how I do my little flowers. You can do your flowers whichever way you like. So if you've got a preferred method, you could even, if you've got some flowery fabric, you could cut out some flowers if you want some flowers on your house as well. Kind of pulled that one a little bit too tight, never mind. Down and up, back in, out at a distance, wrap it round, put it not too tight, and back in. There. So you do that all the way around your little flower, and then you have a little flower. You could do two, you could do a great big one like I did here. So you can see I've got beads on there, I've got some buttons at the side, and I did a nice big stalk on that one. I've got a piece of thread hanging on that one there. On that one is a kind of a smaller flower. I did a chain stitch. It really, really is so, you know, so much up to what you would like on yours. That one had a button flower. That one has got the beady flower again. And then I had a little bit of trim that went up the side that looks like a vine. Also on these ones, felt I have used as a little heart there and there. I like to put hearts on things, and there. Lots of hearts. So you can see, you can actually, let me just take you back up again. There we go. You can actually just add in whatever you want. It's such fun. It's such a fun thing to do. And if you've got older children who, you know, can sew with a needle and thread, and or they're just learning, this is a great little thing for them to do, to learn how to stitch, how to sew, how to make something that they're going to really love. Because you can just imagine this as a little child. If you made it yourself, you can put your tiny little dolls in there, or, you know, whatever. I just think they're so much fun. So let's put this down here. I'm going to finish this one off a little later on, so I'm just going to take the needle off that. So I'm going to show you how to attach it. So once you've got everything on, you've got all your trims on, everything that you want on your house, then you will need to attach it to your painted house. If you like the plain look, you know, you could go that, you could stain it if you wanted to. Again, something that you can make the choices on for that yourself. But I like bright and colourful, so I went for nice bright and colourful acrylic colours. What I used to attach it was this turbo tacky glue. It's the all-purpose adhesive, which you can use for a lot of things. It's ultra strong, dries clear. That was my go-to for this one. So what I did was start off on the one side here, apply my glue. Don't take it all the way up to the edges, but you want to make sure that it's securing everything down. So I'd stick my first piece down, check that everything was kind of coated, and I'd hold it for a little bit, just press on it for a while just to make sure it's nice and secure. Once that was done, I'd take the next surface, stick that down there, and so on and so forth until your house is covered. And it's as simple as that. That is all you need to do. If you want to do the braiding, or if you want to add some pom-pom braiding on, add that on one side, obviously, before you stick it down. If you want to finish the back edge off of your piece, what I did with this one is I've just over sewed it, and then the colour of the house came through on the back, so it's just stuck down, and it's not going to be too fray or dropping threads anywhere, for sure. That one was also back stitched around the edge, and then on this front edge I actually put some bias binding just because I thought, do you know what, I'm going to get some. So I got some colourful bias binding, just stitched that on, and then I stitched my little pom-pom trimming onto the top of that. So you can see it's nicely finished off at the front. It's just down to choice. When it comes to decorating the front of your house, I've gone really simply with a little heart and piece of felt, and also a little bit of my lovely bling fabric that goes on there, and I put a bit there as well. Sorry, just had a quick sneezing fit. So yeah, you could actually, if you wanted to, and you've got some of the little numbers, you could number your houses. You could have it, if you wanted to go completely and utterly crazy, you could have it as an advent calendar. You could have a whole row of them, and you could open one every day and have a little gift inside. But yes, I don't think I'm going to go that far, but I have got a few I want to cover, and I'm just going to try an idea now with one of those little candle tea lights, see what it looks like inside. Hey, so look at that, that's pretty cool. Inside it's one of these little electric candles, so no chance of anything setting fire. I just think that looks really cool. Can you imagine a whole row of them with the little candles in all lighting up? I just think it brings a, I do have a very large part of me that is still a child. I'm childlike forever. I don't ever want to grow up, and this brings me happiness. And imagining the creature that might live inside it also brings me happiness. I might have to make one. Who knows? I might have to make some characters who live inside. So there you have it. A little wooden house decorated with some beautiful slow stitching, and all ready for you to enjoy. You could even use these as a little secret area to have a little secret book inside, one of those tiny journals you could put inside there as well. Thinking of ideas. If you can think of things that you could put in here, drop me a message down in the comments box of different things that you could keep in yours. You could even keep threads in here. You could store your threads. Not many, to be honest, if they were thicker, but you know, color-coded thread boxes, that's a bit over the top probably. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have enjoyed looking at how to make these, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget, if you're enjoying the content that is out here on the Kooky corner of YouTube, then consider subscribing, because then if you click the bell, you get to know every time I upload a video. Have a great rest of your day, have a fabulous weekend, and I'll be back here soon with something else. Bye for now.